You want to fight crime? Let's get dangerous.
And yes, it is showtime, and I don't know why it did that, but yes, I am here and we are live. And yes, the laptop is working, so therefore, the way that I kind of feel at the moment is pretty much like this. Why? Because I could get back to work and I could actually do a few things here. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and get the show started. I am your host, Joe D. McPhee. And welcome to another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher here. Yes, we had some major technical difficulties on this past Thursday for Comic Book Spectrum, mainly because the laptop that I'm using right now went kaput for a little bit here. But I was able to recover. And the good thing about it is that because I had everything pretty much in a contingency plan, everything is good to go, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Reason why? Because tonight is a little bit different, only because I had another unexpected thing happen after I came back from the storage. So before we get into all of the conversation and everything, let's get the business out the way, such as stupid o'clock happening 1 hour into the show. If we go into a second hour, that is followed up by Last Man Standing at 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And you get a little bit of a respite for Nevermind the Furthermore with Nicholas Tucker at 10 a.m. this upcoming Monday. And let us not forget about Comic Book Spectrum this upcoming Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And yes, I think we got past all of the laptop problems and everything, but nevertheless, here, it is that time for some people's favorite part of this show. And that favorite part of the show is new comic book pickups for the week here. And what makes this one a lot special, and I'm going to put it to you this way. It's going to happen in two different segments here. I did have to pre-record some of it because we took books to the storage area. But what happened after I got back is that a shipment of books came in that I was not expecting until next week, but they came today. So you're going to get a double whammy of new comic books that came in. So without further ado, well, we got a comment here. Let's see what comment we got here. It's like, yeah, hi, I was on the Disney's Cinderella Difference White Rabbit Hole. Oh, really? The Cinderella? Wouldn't that be the Alice difference? But Cinderella, okay, I guess. But nevertheless, it is that time for comic book pickups for the week. So we're going to do the pre-recorded stuff first. And here we go. Okay, we are here for new comic book pickups of the week. Normally, last couple of weeks, I know we've been doing it live for a couple of times here because the books did go to storage here. However, today is one of those days where the books went to storage before we actually had the live show. So let's get started here. The first book for today is going to be Old School Doom Patrol 121. This is an older one. This is more of a reader copy, which means that the ones that I have in storage are now up for possibly being graded now. And the significance of 121 is technically this is supposed to be the death of the original 4. The death of the original, well, I shouldn't say the original 4, the death of the original 3. Because, well, yeah, well, I don't want to ruin it, because when it went from volume 1 to volume 2, the only technical surviving member was Robot Man. But this is supposed to be the kind of like the defining moment that ended the Doom Patrol from volume 1. And then I got a newsstand copy of my favorite issue of Spider-Man. And this is a Junior and Austin cover here, and that's Spider-Man 248. And those who know me, I have told the story why this is my favorite issue of Amazing Spider-Man, because of the ending of this story here. Yes, there was an adventure with him and Thunderball, but the bigger story was more or less Peter talking to this boy that was terminally ill in the hospital, who is his biggest fan. And the very end of the story is kind of like one of those emotional pulling the heartstring type endings here. So that's one reason why it's one of my favorite, well, actually, it is the favorite Spider-Man book that I like here, that if I see it, I will buy it. No questions asked. I'm just that much of a fan. Other stuff is, more like collection based type things here. Like, for example, I'm finally getting around to starting Spider-Woman Volume 2 here. Even though this is not Jessica Drew, I got to the point where it's like, I might as well, as I'm getting closer and closer to finishing up all the other volumes, including Volume 1, I might as well get Volume 2, even though it's not Jessica Drew. So we got a copy of issue 2, 3, 4, and then we got New Frontier number 3. Yes, I still gotta finish getting the original run of New Frontier. I got another copy of Black Panther and the Crew, and yes, I do have a full run of Black Panther and the Crew. I believe it's only 6 issues here. One of my favorite issues of Thor, where Earth Force was first introduced for the first time here. And then one of the hardest to find books here to complete either a second or a third set here, Mystery Quarterly / Special issue number 10. This one is one of the harder ones to find here. So, and it's in decent condition here. There is, well, I believe that's just the bag, but it looks like it's a lot of wear and tear. But this is the more hard to find when you go and try to look up Miss Trees from DC here. Then we got some Birds of Prey, a lot of Birds of Prey stuff. That, again, moving more and more to having doubles and triples of the main run of the series here, starting with Volume 1 type stuff. We got another issue number 9. This is early Birds of Prey stuff that I actually have 10, 22, and 39. Now, and 83. Now, 28 is a gap filler. So now I'm filling gaps in that Volume 1 run. 33, 37. So I'm getting closer and closer to having a full run of Volume 1. 42, 59, 67. And then I think this is Volume 2, number 13. And then the one shot for Revolution. And then this is volume 3. I already had issue 2. That's another issue for another 9. For volume 3, I believe I have a full run, but these are just extras here because I bought a lot of Birds of Prey, and in that lot it was a lot of volume 3 type stuff in 19. And then the tail end of this here is a full set of Birds of Prey Manhunt issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is new comic book pickups for the week here. In a few moments here, we're going to go back to the studio and talk about some of the setbacks that had happened this week here, and we'll go from there. So back to you, Joe, in the studio. Yep, and I'm here, and that was part 1 of new pickups for this week here. And I'm going to go through some of the comments here because while the video is playing, I can't really comment on it. She was saying the 1950s has 7 differences that I try to get closest to the 1988 VHS. Okay, yeah, the original theatrical one as opposed to what was sent out because of the remastering from the vault, that type of deal here. Evening, and she said that, sorry I'm late, life is crazy, tell me about it. And thank you once again for Thursday taking over the duties, hosting duties for Thursday while I was on the cell phone trying to figure out what was going on with the laptop here. Yeah, it is, to me, the best Spider-Man story ever told. You know, it was a really good one, and people sleep on it. To me, that should be like one of the highest spec books. But no, people want a Spider-Man 300. And we got Jake in the house. Yeah, the first 2, he liked the Doom Patrol one, and I forgot what the second one was in that one. But we got more. We got more coming down the pike here. Yeah, mystery books for DC. Because it was no longer just Mystery. It was called Mystery Quarterly. So they were coming out on a quarterly basis, and then they stopped at issue 10. So it went from Mystery Quarterly for when it was up under DC. Went from Mystery Quarterly to Mystery Special in the same run. I believe 8, 9, and 10 was Mystery Special. They dropped the quarterly there. And everybody's greeting one another, and pretty much it's like, yeah, Joe, where's your KFC? I didn't go by KFC. I actually went a different direction. I went to the ATM for Bank of America on 83rd, so I didn't come nowhere close to 71st here. So that's the only reason why there's no KFC. But we're about ready for part 2 here. Let me go ahead and show these first because I'm not certain if I'm going to put them in the background here to display them or something to that magnitude. So in my display, I got these kind of free here. These are, I want to say this is like almost like 11 by 17s of image cover. So we got like Wildcats number 17, and they all laminated. They're all laminated. Wildcats number 6. Wildcats 23, and DV8 versus Black Ops number 3. So those were packed in with one of the books that came today. So if you saw 11 by 17, you know that there got to be something big later on down the line here. Now these first two books that I'm about to show was something that I won on Whatnot here. So I got an Ultimate Wolverine number 1. I know some people are liking this book. I haven't read it yet. Not sure if I'm going to like the series or not. And then I got Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 1. And this is the, let's see. This is the one of the Virgin variants here for In-Huck Lee. And it says it's limited to 3,000. And the only reason I know that is because there's the COA from Bryce Comics. So those were two that I won over whatnot. And now let's get to some of the goodies that came in the 3 boxes that was outstanding here. That I'm up here. It's like I was not expecting them until sometime next week here. So we got Civil War II #1, where we got the death of the She-Hulk here. Issue #2, I think, kind of resolves that whole scenario and brought in some other things here. And then we got issue #3. I know Civil War II went more than 3 issues, but that's so far that I got. Then we got Gods of War issue #1 from that run, and issue number 2, where they kind of talk more about how other people dealt with the death of She-Hulk here for God of War issue 2 of Civil War II. And then we got 2 New Avengers issues. I believe I already had these 2 already. One is a tie-in to Secret Invasion, which is New Avengers 41, and then we got New Avengers 55 here. And then we got some Catwoman here. The first one is dealing with, I believe this is volume 4, which I already had, and I actually sold a copy of one of these. And this is the Warner Brothers one, where it's a cover with her and Tweety. So that's kind of cool here. And then we got from volume 5, I believe this is issue 25, normal. And the Jenny Frizen, and I don't understand why they did the whole Harley Quinn, but it's a Jenny Frizen so-called Harley Quinn cover for volume 5 of Catwoman 30. This was Catwoman 36. And then we're getting closer and closer and closer to having a full run, at least through 1 through like 100 so far. We're getting closer to that from some of my favorite from one of my favorite books from AC Comics here, and that is Film Force. Film Force 36 I already had a copy of, so it's 83, 84, 85, 86. Now 97 is where it was getting kind of a little bit rougher to get here, but I had copies of it, but now I have better ones here. These are almost gradable. I finally got my replacement 99, which I couldn't find. I couldn't find what happened with my 99 in storage, so I got another one, and I got a better copy of 100. And then in the 100s, I got issue 124 and 126 were ones that I was missing here. And then in my Night Vale set here, I finally completed it because of this one issue right here, Night Vale #4. I finally got my Night Vale #4. So now I have all 7 issues of Night Vale. We got another copy of issue #5 and another copy of issue #7 here. So, and we still rolling through here. Now we got some volume 2. Well, actually, I shouldn't say volume 2 because it should be more than just this. I could have sworn I put, yeah, it's out of order. I should have sworn here. That's why I said I know it's more than volume 2 because I have this issue from volume 1. So I got another Doom Patrol 109. So those who remember how Doom Patrol actually started, it started with issue number 80 of My Greatest Adventures, and then I believe on issue 98, it switched over to Doom Patrol. So it's My Greatest Adventures for let me think about this. From issue 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. It was My Greatest Adventures. And then it switched over to Doom Patrol from there. So this is 109, towards the tail end of that first volume of Doom Patrol. And then we got issues from volume 2, the extra copy of issue 3, issue 4, issue 12, issue 15, a Flex Metallo cover of 42, but that's not the first issue of where Flex Metallo first appeared. I believe that was 35 or something like that. 25 or 35, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe it's 35. But, this is a Flex Metallo cover. And then we got 2 extra copies of the annual #1. And this is kind of like the luck of the draw type deal. Somebody was selling a set of Unstoppable Doom Patrol. It's a full set, by the way. But these are all the alternate covers here. So this is the alternate, one of the alternate covers, or very covers for actual Doom Patrol, Unstoppable Doom Patrol 1, variant for issue 2, variant for issue #3. It is shiny. Issue #4, variant for issue #5, variant for issue #6, and more of a manga style variant for issue #7. So we got all of those Doom Patrol like deals here. And then I was coaxed into buying into some Batgirl because they were just, ultra cheap here. So we got Batgirl 25, which is supposed to be an anniversary issue. And then I forgot who did this one. Yeah, this is before they actually had it listed on the side here. But some of the more detailed ones, the covers are just really up there. And this is another shiny one. And then there's the 35 from the new 52 set here. And then I got myself another copy of Birds of Prey #1 from volume 2. So I got a lot of them here. And then we got another gatefolded X-Men #1 e-cover. Those are very, very common, but for some reason, people like to make them very pricey here. Another copy of the free 1 per comic book store Future State preview, or DC Nation Presents Future State. And then we got a free Aquaman #19. That might be cannon fodder. I shouldn't say cannon fodder, but when I say cannon fodder, I'm talking about might be up for sale either on Whatnot or some other claim sales soon. Sensational She-Hulk #28, so that's an extra. Black Manta 2 of 6. Again, more stuff to either go to Whatnot or claim sale a little bit later. Supergirl 74. I'm not certain how much of Supergirl stuff I have up in storage as of yet, because I haven't separated that stuff out. And yes, there is Wonder Woman books up in here. This is the only one that is $2.96 here, because that one is one of the rarer ones in volume 1 towards the tail end of the series that was harder to get. So I got another copy of that. And then we got Adventure Comics starring Supergirl, which is one of these weird ones where she's literally holding what's supposed to be a ghost. Supergirl could see it, but nobody else is saying. It's like you're literally holding nothing there. It's like she's actually holding something, but it's just weird here. And then we got Captain Marvel 13. I'm not certain if this is actual Marvel or one of the so-called created Marvels that came later on here. And then we got from Image Comics, Sons of the Devil issue 1. This one is kind of like up in the air if I'm going to read it and keep it, or read it or give it away here. We got the Valiant Vision starter kit #1 with the original glasses that came with it. So that was a weird pickup. And then we got the variant cover of Justice League Dark and Wonder Woman The Witching Hour #1. And then this one, I'm not certain if it's going to go to claim sale / whatnot or not, which is Chew #35. Definitely don't have many of this title, but again, it's just a title that doesn't really appeal to me as a whole, so it's kind of up in the air. I got another Magic #1 here. So that's kind of cool. Oh, okay, cool. That I did. I'll explain a little bit later. I'm going to go through the comments here. I'm glad that somebody made mention. So we got Zen the Intergalactic Ninja #1 from the special Just Choice Collector's Edition here. And yes, some of the Archie books have special toy collector's edition here. We got a Thor 279 that came through. Yes, I actually buy Thor every now and then. So I think I have most of Jane Foster, but I had other Thors before that, old school Thors before that. So it is what it is. Here is issue #3 of Mr. Miracle from volume 2. So that's nothing new. That's an extra. Now, this is a series that I probably have to find a way to get the rest of them. It's called Killing Red Sonja, and this is issue #2. This is a version variant of issue #2 here from Dynamite Studios. And no, I am not holding it upside down. That's how the book looks. They actually had her kind of like, it's more or less like her looking over you if you was on the ground. So that's the reason why it looks like it's upside down. And then finally, I'm slowly but surely getting finding ways to find more of this. I've been looking for this Rolling Man series for quite some time here because after meeting the guy, I really wanted to check out one of his works and actually read it. So I finally got a copy of the original issue #1 of Cat and Mouse. And then here's issue #2 from volume 2. So at least I get to read something of his very, very soon here. And I feel like I got lucky on this purchase here. It was for 2 copies of 2 issues of Liberty Metals. 28 is a common issue. This is like my 3rd or 4th one here. But this one right here is issue #3, first print. So I got very, very lucky with that here. So we got a lot of that here. And then we got some Uncanny X-Men #1s. We got this white cover one, just because. And then this one was given to me for free here. So this is the variant of the same series here. So it's kind of nice here. Yeah, almost there where I could go ahead and talk about some of the comments here. We got a Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider #1 variant edition. And I think this is from the Enter the Spider-Verse variant. How she looked in Enter the Spider-Verse. And then I got another Rose Besh Trials of the Amazons #1. I don't know why people love this, but it's like some of Rose Besh stuff is great, but then there's others that to me is just kind of like average. This one is on that average scale here, but some people really, I guess, think that a lot of people just love her work. And then we got an Avengers 250. So we finally got one of those here. And then on the slab side of things here, yes, in all of this, there was a slab that came, and this is a 8.0 of New Warriors #1. So this is volume 1 of New Warriors, #1 white pages here. The origin of the New Warriors, and then you have the Avengers and Terrax appearance in this one. So, yep, this was not a bad purchase for $20. Not a bad purchase at all. And then short story, because this is the last of what I could say technically is new comic book pickups for the week, because the other thing that I'm going to mention, like I said, setbacks and other things we're going to talk about as soon as I finish here. For the longest time, I thought I already purchased this. And I was looking for it in storage and everything. I thought it came in another shipment, but no, it came in today's shipment here. And that is the full set of an adult comic called Hardball. So I got issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and issue 4. This is the full set here. I have no idea what this is about here, but because I'm actually about to get ready to think about releasing my first 2 issues of my very first, 18 and above issues series here. I'm studying, I do my due diligence trying to study what has been done in the past. So that's kind of like cool and everything in that aspect. And that's pretty much technically new comic book pickups for the week here. And we're going to talk about some of the other stuff here, but let me go back. I'm going to go back. I gotta go back because we got people like, ooh, I'm not certain which cover that you talking about there. And yeah, Herc looks sad. Yeah, in the Gods of War for the for issue number 2 of Civil War 2. Yeah, he did look sad. Yep. Yeah, those FemForce 90 to 100 cover designs go hard. Yes, they did. They did. They really did. It's so frustrating that they haven't done an omnibus of volume 1 of Doom Patrol. Tech, I wonder if they did an archive. I think they did a DC archive. I could be wrong on that, Jake, but Parallax would would be more along the lines of if I'm correct or not. But I could have sworn that they did that they did a DC archives hardcover DC archives version of Doom Patrol Volume 1. Worse is that the Vertigo 7 DC never finished collecting Shade the Changing Man. Yeah, yeah, they never finished that one, and there she is. There's Gift. Which one are you talking about here? And then yeah, I think that was where I was saying yeah, is Jenna's Veil. Yeah, Jenna's Veil, the so-called son of the original Marvel. Yeah, it looks like she held a skinny polar bear. Yep. LOL. Yep. Ooh, it's like, yeah, people will just pretend that they love shit because it's popular. That's true. Oh, hey, lost the new Warriors issue for lost the new Warriors issue from the SNL writer. Wait, what? What? Wait. They actually released it. I thought it got kiboshed. The whole thing with safe space and all that stuff got canceled at the 11th hour at Marvel. That book did not see the issue number 1 did not see the light of day, at least to here. You're not saying which issue, so I don't know which issues that you're talking about here. I'm reading, I'm going through the things at the moment. So when you say grab it, well, I have an idea of what was about. Okay. Sure, you are. The D in it is like due diligence. Yes. Of course it is. Yeah, Doom Patrol, Amazon Doom Patrol Archives. I was right. Oh, yeah. Beanie wants the shiny Batgirl book, and I want the Hardball set. No, on the Hardball set. This is mine. That's actually reference material. Batgirl. Because I really don't collect Batgirl unless it's like Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. Let me think here, because that's more of the newer stuff. So again, the Beanie Five is added again, trying to take books from the archive. she wants this one. So you're saying that Beanie wants that one. Yeah, Jake, actually the new Warriors or the woke Warriors got canned and shelved. Yeah, that's what I thought. They shelved that one. When they really start talking about what the characters were about and everything, they shelved it. In marketing, it hit all it in marketing sessions, it hit all of the key things that they want. But when they started promoting it to people, oh, that backlash over here was not good. Oh, okay, so he knew. Yeah, picking up the it's like I'm picking up the yarn from last week's discussion. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I have that Batgirl. And she was like, give it to me. I was like, no. And she said I was stinky. Oh yeah. Reference material, right. That's just like what strips was also one that I looked into here. I mean, I'm not up here like going up here like, oh, I gotta get all of these adult comics all of a sudden. No, it's just certain ones that people tell me to look into. And again, everybody knows the best one that if I have to recommend an adult comic book series, there's one that I always recommend, and most people won't out actually go and find it because now it's actually hard to find now. But when it was truly available and it was plentiful, it was a worthwhile read from beginning to end. Well, you sure you want to get her? You sure you want to get her one of these? Because you sure you're going to get her one of these? Because I'm not worried about that. Yep, that be the title. Why? Because it was educational as well as not really over the top, you know, adult. If you could come across them, that's the whole thing. Because people don't know how to value that book. Those books are hard to come by now. The average one, if you go based upon how hard it is to get, should be fetching anywhere between $8 to $10 a pop. But most people who up there think it's like, oh, it's an adult book, nobody paying attention to it. I give it to you for like $1, 50, $2. Yeah, I agree. Oh, Randy doesn't have that. Randy said most of my stuff is PG. I'm a family friendly store. He won't have Ogenki Clinic. Kerbo, I think may have a few here, but I think the smoozer may be sitting on some, and he doesn't know it, and he doesn't know the true value of a lot of those books, especially certain issues. I know that's why I say, are you sure? Are you sure? Because like I said, I got this one from the smoozer, so I know that the smoozer might have another one if I gave it to her or not. No, even that's what I'm saying. It's hard to find, but it's like when you do find it, some people just don't know the value of it. They would just put it at $2 and be like, "I just want it out my store," and I'm just like, "Thank you, please, thank you, and please." That's all I'm saying about that. But those who don't know what Ogenki Clinic is, it is about the one and only hospital that focuses on sexual deviancy, meaning that it's a doctor that is, it's about a doctor that is there, and his whole goal is to help cure people of if I could say it, how can I say it, the inhibitions that they have about their sexual deviancy. So if like, if there was like certain things that, turns you on, he would figure out a way to get you beyond that point where you could, perform better. Or if you're overly into one type of fetish, he will help you curate to get you out of it, stuff to that magnitude. So it was a very interesting series, especially for some of the things that they talked about. Now, I won't, well, actually, I can go into it because why? I can make the nice little change here because I think I still have it. The overlay. Oh, my logo covers it up. Uh-oh. There we go. Da, 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 da. Now we could talk about adult stuff. Now we could talk about adult stuff. That's not exactly Eros. It was done under Sexy Fruit Comics, and I believe Sexy Fruit was an offshoot of Iron Cat. So if you have over there where you're at, if you have Iron Cat comics over there, you might be lucky enough to have a few issues. They might have a few issues up under the Sexy Fruit label, because the Sexy Fruit label was really Iron Cat Studios. So yeah. So that question was no, only because wasn't really a big fan of Ramen One Half. I have watched a lot of it, but I'm not a big fan of it. The archives covers one through five. Okay, it's like, yeah, there's plenty of publications that were state struck. Oh, okay. So I have to actually go to scenes in other countries and tap into the. Okay, cool. But what you're looking for is Iron Cat Studios and Sexy Fruit Comics. Sexy Fruit Comics was a part of Iron Cat Studios. So if you find a place that have Iron Cat Studios, you'll be able to find it there. So that's pretty much it. But getting back to what Ogenki Clinic is, so some of the very good issues, and there's like things like, how can I put this? How can I put this? Since I got it up here, some of the things that he there was adventures dealing with. It's like it was one where a couple, a lesbian couple, comes to the doctor asking for assistance here to help quell a ongoing argument between them as far as which was actually better, a sex toy or the actual thing. And being that the couple was a lesbian couple, it was hilarious because it was just like, there's nothing wrong with the toy, but still doesn't compare to the real thing because the real thing does blah 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 blah. And it's just like it was hilarious. It's a lot of hilarity that's up in there. And where the so-called hospital is at is in this commercial building, and the way that the doctor paid his rent is not through money, it's through sexual pleasure. So the landlord would come every so often. It's like time to pay the rent, and he would be like, "Oh no!" It's one of those type of things here. Yeah, my work is 18 plus, but that's because of the things of like cursing and gore. You'd be surprised that you could get away with cursing and gore faster than more of the true adult situations here. Yeah, bring good clothes and good shoes if you visit. Yep. Cucumbers are easy to find and batteries are relatively cheap. But that's not what they were really going with the debate here. But it's just funny. Unky Joe, has there ever been a one stop comics? Yes. I don't live in Oak Park, but yes, there has been one in the past. Is it still there? I don't know. I don't know if it's still there or not, but yes, at one time there is one stop comics. But then again, I have been it's been a long while since I have ever been to Oak Park. Laney hot water field, a hot water field. Oh wow! Yes, it's still there. Okay, but saying all that to say, but that's the type of stuff that's in Ogenki Clinic. It's not one of those things that are just like an escapade romp type deal. It's just like people with weirdness and everything. Another case that he had to resolve was this one widower cannot she it was like the more that she tries to date a man and it gets to the point where it's like okay it's about to get nice and physical she could not enjoy it because she was married to a man that was very very huge down there and it was kind of like one of those things it's just like it's like unless it was him just like she just couldn't enjoy it and it turns out the way that he cured her was through an exorcism so it was just so hilarious type deal but it was well thought out it was not something that was just like a sex escapade it was like you know out of the ordinary situations where it's like okay how is he going to cure this one or how is he going to deal with that one and yada yada yada. Yeah, that's because the writer of the book that BKK never asked. Yeah, that wrote the book never asked. Yep. Yeah, one stop comics, my Shopify products. Okay. Yeah, volume one, I believe it was only what 20 it went from 80 to it went 21 issues before it started reprinting itself because 121 was the technical end of volume one and then they went I think 6 issues beyond that in reprints so I'm not certain if the omnibus is going to give you the reprints from like 122 to 126 but most archives will be from like my greatest adventures 80 to Doom Patrol 121. So that would help here. Amazon UK, yeah, that might help. Brave and the Bold, wait, 86, no, 80, 80, issue 80 to 121. So it's like 21 issues. Well, let me take that back. 22 issues because I have to consider 80 is an issue. So 80 to 121. No, yeah, no. 40. Wait, hold on. 40 ish, 42 issues, period. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I would not. Oh well, I would not. Well, maybe the omnibus would do that, but Challengers was just only a crossover. It was not a actual Doom Patrol issue. It was a crossover with that, and then they included the Brave and the Bold one with Flash. Those were only two crossovers. The Challengers was a well-known crossover. The Brave and the Bold one was not all that well known. Yeah, those are the books in the omnibus. Okay. Oh, by the way, I do own the Challengers one too, because the way that it reads is that the Challengers was in Doom Patrol first, and then they did a follow up crossover in Challengers of the Unknown. Yep, yep, that is true. And trust me, she if she likes you, she will offer the lookup services that she normally does to help you get the books that you want. Yep, that is true. The missing part of the Wonder Woman archives I got for $68, all because of her. But with that being said, setbacks and just getting over them. This whole laptop setback really, struck me really, really hard because of why I actually finished doing the actual page layouts for another chapter of the anthology book. And after I saved them and was restarting the laptop for getting ready to do Comic Book Spectrum, that's when everything went kaput. I knew that the pages that I was working on were safe because it was on an external drive, but it just didn't make any sense of why the laptop wouldn't restart. So I was going through all of this different stuff and everything here while on Comic Book Spectrum, trying to figure this thing out. But the good thing about it is that, for one, it took a while for the solid state drive to fix what was going on, and that's the good thing about solid state drives as opposed to regular hard drives. The way that it stores everything makes things a little bit more palatable. It may boot up a lot slower until it catches up, but eventually it caught up here. And, the fiance kind of kept telling me, it's like, you know what? Maybe it is like a SD card and stuff like that, because you know how to deal with that to recover data and everything to that magnitude. It's like, yeah, but this is the first time I ever dealt with a solid state drive. And the more I looked up how solid state drives work and how the commands and everything works in Windows, I was like, oh, if all these settings are correct and everything, then we should be okay. So, I kind of like left it alone, came back Friday, and I was like looking at the two other laptops that we have here at the house that's like on their last leg. And I'm up here, I was like, well, if I could get one of those to work where I could get my web camera to work off of them, I should be okay for Saturday. But I said, got one of them kind of working, and the other one, because it was on Windows Vista, I got it to work. But because it's on Vista, none of the other stuff will work on it, meaning that I couldn't get StreamYard on it because it was not compatible to that version of Chrome and Firefox and all this other stuff. Everything was just not compatible, period. So, and the other one was also another Windows 10, but it was having battery issues, meaning that it was taking a long time for the battery to charge. And by the time I got it to turn on, it loses battery power like that. So it was like as I was getting things prepared and trying to get like the hard drive and stuff really to the point where it wasn't like holding up programs for a long period of time, losing power, lost power. And it's like, okay, do I really try to charge this battery to full power again and then try to do all this stuff or not? So, I was up here messing around with that. And then lo and behold, this one came back. And when it came back, it was like ultra slow for some reason. And I just couldn't figure out why it was doing what it was doing and everything. But behind the scenes, and from what I was reading, is that solid state drives has a means of correcting itself. So if it was a issue with a memory cell, it would actually start looking at what things would, got, switched out and everything. If something needed to be erased or needed to be dumped, it would dump it. If the drive gets locked, it would go through all the steps to check itself through all the memory locations on the drive itself before it gives you full access to everything. So eventually, late that Friday is when everything came back. I was able to start the lettering process for the 8 pages and everything. And everything was good and hunky dory again. I was able to do the video for the stuff for comic book pickups for the week and everything. Was able to get back into StreamYard to be able to do X, Y, and Z on StreamYard. Was able to browse the internet and everything to that magnitude. So everything was good to go. I was happy about that here. And then other setbacks here because I lost a day and a half of lettering. I lost a day and a half of all this other stuff here. Find a cheap battery. I could. I could for that HP. I could, but that's like the second or third time that we replaced the battery. So, and besides, I want to also try to replace the hard drive, but it doesn't have an easy access point for accessing the hard drive. So they made some of these HP laptops just hard to just deal with here. Biometrics, yeah, that's the whole thing. I don't like that. But again, they're up here security wise, they're trying to move things to biometrics. So that's never a good thing here. But nevertheless, I know I skipped through some things here. They were talking about the omnibus and how it was 64 pounds or something like that. Yeah, the second linking is eBay, the yada yada yada, free shipping. Yeah, customs is just one of those things that is just hard. My squishy's battery doesn't hold power in his battery either. I keep it plugged in, and that's the thing. It was plugged in at the time, but this one requires that the battery stays charged to at least, I think, 5%, or else it would start the shutdown process, and that's what ended up happening. I even include a happy birthday card inside in case it gets open and find out that we're old friends. So they're talking about eBay, yeah. But anyway, I'm in the pursuit of what was going on Thursday. I ended up buying another solid state drive to replace the one that's in the laptop already, and it looks like I don't really need it, but it's good to have a backup handy just in case here. Yeah, okay. That's not a problem. I could send you that one, the make and model for the HP one here, because if I get that one back up and running, then I could at least have somebody else in the house keep it maintained. Yeah, you're telling a lot of people to suck eggs lately, but you're telling them to suck eggs for real good purposes. Yeah, so I kind of understand that, but stuff like that was going on. Other stuff with family was going on, and I couldn't be creative. It took me away from doing what I needed to do book wise. And up here, like I said, the immediate thing that I came to was like, oh well, this is probably going to force me to draw Amazonia if worse comes to worse. If I had to wait until the new hard drive get here, and then when it popped up, I was like, okay, we could still do another from the Deso Small Press Publisher. We could talk about what was going on, why Thursday was kind of like a bust for me, but it was a boom um, for everybody else that was a part of the panel here. And I'm glad that we're still trying to stick with the whole thing about a rotating panel where I don't have to be physically on screen. As long as I can start the show, there's always somebody there that could take over and talk about everything to that magnitude here. I see if I could afford a membership, I could take over. Well, actually, what Brian was saying is that technically I can make you an administrator, which means that if I give you administrator rights, you will be able to come on this account and start the show as if you were me. That's what he was saying in the chat here. At one time, I had that set up here, but the thing about it was more along the lines of how things were at the time here, but yet I have to do that after the show to reset all that stuff up here. But yeah, it is what it is. And then Jake is saying, yeah, I feel you haven't done daily over the next 3 months, and now the finger joints are achy literally from doing to do the work. Yeah, I've been doing the, doing pay when you've been on a thing on a page where you're doing like something every day towards a book or towards a story and everything, and something like that happens, it makes you kind of like very, very upset because it's like, what am I going to do now? Because now I got to shift gears, I got to shift focus, and I want to finish this. I want to make certain that this is finished before I move on to the next thing. And it's just one of those things here. I think it's just a matter of getting either like the right email address or just making certain that your credentials work where you could pop in and be like, if I'm not available, you could just jump onto StreamYard up under the same controls and be like, boom, I can start this. I have rights and privileges to this. I could go ahead and start in and all this other stuff here. And like I was like, and also like I was trying to tell Brian, it's like I could also start from the cell phone. It's not I don't have to like literally be on the laptop. I could do it from my cell phone if I really needed to. So I like one of the reasons why I don't really get upset too much anymore, because I typically have a backup plan when something goes wrong. But it would make it easier, and I agree with what he was saying. It makes it easier if I had an administrator, somebody who is an administrator that could come on their laptop and take over if need be. So if I did drop out, you still have the rights and controls to begin and end and do whatever you need here. Yep. Yep. That's the reason why I said behind the scenes I did is like, yeah, that's why I was in the dark, and I didn't want people to know where I was at. And to be quite honest, Brian K. Morris did a whole show in a hotel toilet. Only because that was the only quiet place in the hotel room. But that's a whole different thing. But saying all that to say, it is what it is here. Yeah. Yeah, and yes, he did wash his hands. That's one of the reasons why he always talk about, wash your hands, do what you need to do, and never apologize for being awesome. That's where all of that came from. A lot of it, and a lot of that was coming from this so-called during the time of the pandemic, because that was kind of like the thing to say, to make certain that people do the right thing here. So yes, he did wash his hands. That's why on Comic Book Spectrum I say I don't care if you wash your hands, because we're no longer in so-called pandemic. But never apologize for being awesome. Yeah, that was the origin. We was in the middle of the pandemic while all of that here. Yes, we was in the middle of the pandemic. He was on the road doing a show, and he did the show in the hotel bathroom during the pandemic, and that's kind of like one of those things here. She's hilarious. She's hilarious. But yeah, that's kind of the urban legend behind that. He was actually saying that a little bit before that, but that's kind of like the urban legend. It was like one of the few times that I was a did a guest spot on Comic Book Spectrum. Yeah, it was. He said I need to wash my hands. Yep, you need to wash your hands and everything here. Oh man, we're 1 hour into it, and those are kind of like the setbacks that personally. So it makes you a little bit uncomfortable when you can't create on your timetable here, and it just kind of throws you for a loop as far as if I actually start doing something else and everything. Speaking of which, do you guys really want me to talk about the other reason why it was technically new comic books for the pickup ending with that stuff, or do you want me to, or you just want me to drop it? You tell me. I told you one time I passed by the bathroom, my mom was singing it with her, and I was like, "Damn it, uh, but at least she was clean. She had nice, clean hands. She had nice, clean hands, so you can't complain about dirty hands." Now I forgot what I did with it. No, that was. Oh, here it is. I'm going to say this here. This is the after effect of Fallout Eraser 2.0. That's how much stuff I cleaned off of that. Like the IRS, I'm going to be vaguely tense. Maybe. Yep. Maybe. Really? Really? I got it from the smoozer for free. That's how I kind of knew about it. Washing hands to kill germs. Washing hands to kill the hands to be clean, because germs are icky. Pew 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 pew. Holy crap! Ball steel. that's how much Sharpie I had to get off of those plastic bags. Now, mind you, the good thing about this is that I got to the point where I just cut off slivers. I refuse. I refuse to use a whole brick. I will cut off parts of this magic eraser and use that to get the stuff clean. Now, the only reason I use magic eraser now because it's a little bit better to clean up books, to clean up covers and stuff after you do like the cotton ball wipes and the cotton rounds and stuff to that magnitude, because that gets like all of the dust and stuff off. When you do the absorbing and everything, this thing would definitely get the remnants of that stuff off of it. But it works wonders on the plastic bag with Sharpie. So yeah, that is Fallout Eraser 2.0. Yeah, a few things compared to the darkness around my eye. Yeah, the rubber case into the void, and never was the same after the altercation. Wow. That's just hilarious here. But you guys never said that if you want me to go into why I went quotation fingers on the new comic book pickups for the week. Do you want me to go into it or not? So yeah, the magic eraser looked into the void. It started running, never stopped. Like the doctor. Yep. Yeah, why did I? Yeah, go into it +1. Well, the reason I didn't consider it new comic books for pickups for the week, because technically they're not really new comics, but let me show you. Over this past week, I got some boxes that came that says Fragile. It's Italian, Fragile. So what came as Fragile? Let's see. I know what it is, but this is something that at one time I was just saying, it's like, we're not going to save it for a show, but no, we're going to talk about it here, because technically it's not new comic books for the week, because I showed you guys this stuff before, but now it's official. There it is, one of the Doomazonia covers at a 9.8 signature series. The Powerpuff Girls was not so lucky, but it's a 9.2 signature series. The Negative Space cover that I did on the Birds of Prey undercover, 9.8. And the other Doomazonia cover for 9.4. 9.4. Doomazonia beanie cover. So those 4 came, and then I think it's another 7 that came here. That's what's in the other box. So like I said, those are technically not new comic books for the week, but they did come in this week. I do have some more stuff at CGC that is due shortly, but those are books that I sent to get actual graded. So again, those would not necessarily be new comic books for the week, but it would be new to me as far as fully graded. And here is the other 7, and I gotta pick that stuff up after I'm done here. Now, one of these I actually showed Parallax this one here, and I actually showed Artie, and it came back better than I thought here. I bought a messed up blank from Artie. I did artwork on it, and it came back at 9.0. So that's Infinity Gauntlet number 1. And this is one of the few ones where I did a front and I did a back. So I have Thanos on the front, and Mistress Death in the back. So that came back at 9.0. My John Byrne tribute of Sensational She-Hulk 1 came back in 9.6. This was the one that I kept offering up as possible prices and stuff. Nobody took it up. So now it's Signature Series 9.6. One of the more sexy ones here, which is a 9.0. With her on, on a couch and everything. That came back in 9.0. One of the non-Amazonia sketch covers, which is a She-Hulk book, came back in 9.8. And yes, I actually drew and colored that. So that came back in 9.8. The Marilyn Monroe cosplay one that I did came back in 9.8. Now, there's also another Marilyn Monroe one that I did that somebody bought from me. Also came back in 9.8 as well. So that one came back in 9.8. This Big Bar cosplay from DC Bombshells came back in 9.8. So that came back in 9.8 as well. And these would probably be on sale at the next show that I go to here, if I can remember to bring them. And this one is Lady Darmansu, but this one got a 9.4. Lady Darmansu cosplay came back in 9.4. Beanie has expensive taste. That's all I want to say. Beanie has expensive taste because that is not a cheap She-Hulk. Trust me. Okay, you will remind me. Good. Yeah, Beanie says that she wants different, but that's not a cheap She-Hulk. That's definitely not a cheap one. She is expensive. But she is the leader of Doge now. Since Elon Musk has stepped down, she would probably be the leader of Doge based upon how she treats other things here. But that's all of the newly graded stuff that came back from my artist account. I'm probably going to send more soon. I still got other sketch covers I could actually send. But I will deal with that as we need to deal with that here. And yes, that's the new bubble packaging this is like the new bubble packaging that they send the stuff in. It's like cutting like two halves and everything. So that's kind of like the neat thing here. So and ironically enough, those books did not go to storage because of the simple fact that I didn't have a proper vehicle to take them in, nor the bags and stuff that I normally carry, like all the books in, could contain those type of boxes pretty easily here. It's like she's gonna give every agency the 350 about 350 to run and expect change back. That's funny. Yep. Yep. You should reach out to her on Facebook here. Oh, look at me. I don't have vehicles. That's why I just said I don't have a car. I literally don't have a car. The last car that I had, I gave up back in 2007. because the back axle went. So I've been carless ever since. I wish I had a car. If I had a car, I probably would be doing more shows because I could actually schedule the stuff out and everything and actually save money. Like for example, with C2E2, I could save somewhere between $500 to $700 because I don't have to rent a U-Haul if I had my own car or van. But it is what it is. Yep. You don't want Jake on social media because Jake on social media would be like, I will never get any artwork done. he, I mean, literally, he would be on the platform just to be like, here, look at this, and then he'd be like talking about other stuff here. He would never get anything done. I don't. It's like I don't have a car either. It's like Joe. It's like Joe, my man, in solidarity with the Walkman. Yep. A 1974 Eldorado. My cousin Vinny. Oh, I don't know why you're making me think about my cousin Vinny. 1 2 save a nickel, wear the shoe. Exactly. Exactly. That's one of the things. It's like when I do like the Facebook Live from storage, it's like I'm literally walking. I'm either walking. I probably would never do it from a bus, but walking, sure, why not? I only wear tactical boots or Converse. Why tactical boots here? It's not like your former military, but then again, you probably go to the army surplus store and be like, yeah, give me those. Joe's right, addicted to this digital shit. Yep. That's what makes me miss what you was doing on Newgrounds dealing with bone meal. But you even gave up bone meal for that. That doesn't mean nothing. You can get good shoes elsewhere. And they have the zipper on the one side. Okay, so you want to get the high tech, the higher tech boots. 'Cause I'm about to say, if you got the old school speed lace, that's like, yeah, you wouldn't fiddle around with speed lace boots all that much, especially not in the wintertime. And then Jake is saying, yeah, I have been in a deep slump, to be honest. Why? Why have you been in a deep slump? Elaborate. Oh, so we're almost kind of sort of twinsies in that aspect here. Not as far as the ailment with the foot, but the thing that you're talking about before that. Because yeah, I do have to kind of like wear particular arch supports and everything here, but I didn't know about that. Right. That's why I'm saying those are the newer ones. Because I didn't even have it when I was in the Air Force. Only thing that we got was speed lace boots. We got the old school speed lace. Well, we didn't really never talk about that here because I was posting more online, but I got to the point where I really haven't posted anything on DeviantArt other than the bullshit AI stuff, trying to test out their AI generator. But most artwork that I post now is either on Patreon if I decide to post on Patreon or whenever I feel like an inkling to post something on Facebook because nobody really paid attention to Facebook. But yeah, I get it. I get it. It's like you get kind of dejected because you don't want work being stolen, people not appreciating it the way that they're supposed to, and everything to that magnitude. And then, like I said, I haven't brought that stuff up in a long while. And it just, to me, what happened. Nothing really to talk about per se here. I know other people had a lot to say about that after the end result of it, but it was what it was, and it didn't stop me for creating books. It just maybe slowed me down as far as getting books out there and distributed, but it didn't stop me for creating books, and then it hurt my bottom line as a whole here. And she's saying sorry about that, Jake. It's like, yeah, at the fact with the AI getting right up about the moment that bone meal was getting finished, I just, you just took that step back and be like, nah, I just don't want to deal with this. The bigger point is, if you love creating, don't stop creating. That's the big point that I could point out to it. Yeah, there's other ways that you could get people, people's eyes on your work, but yeah, you're not really stuck to online. You're really not stuck that way. But I just know for a fact, like with DeviantArt, anything that you put in your stash is fair game. And it's like, once I started reading that in the terms of service of stash, I was like, never again, because you never know how they use their stash. It's like, as you created a standard post, it could go to stash just long enough for somebody to grab it and use your work in some other form. So I was like, nope, just can't. Yeah, I do. It's like I do create, but never share or launch now. Yeah. And Jacob, that's like, so far I've also been feeling liberated that I haven't crowdfunded this year. As much as a lot of people in our circles talk about crowdfund, I haven't crowdfunded this year mainly because of the simple fact that I never saw any growth. I'm up here promoting. Take, for each and every campaign, that's 30 days. That's 30 days of marketing. Of each and every day getting up, saying something about what you're putting out there, hoping to grab somebody's attention. But yet you don't see any growth in that over several campaigns. It kind of gets to the point, it's like, what's the point? If the people who like my stuff is still buying it in other platforms and other areas, why am I focusing on crowdfunding? To me, if you're able to make the book and able to fund, the actual creation of the book on your own, and you're just using crowdfunding more or less like a pre-sale, then what's the purpose? Is that pre-sale money really that necessary for your operation? So Primetime Saturday Night number 5 was soft launched without crowdfunding. I was still able to get copies of the books ready to go and have there at C2E2, and we were ready to rock and roll with it, and everything was fine. Could I crowdfunded it? Yes. But if I crowdfunded it, would I have truly made the same amount of money if of doing the soft launch? And the answer to that question was no, I wouldn't be able to make more money because my audience really doesn't use things like crowdfund, like Kickstarter or Fund My Comic and stuff to that magnitude. And on top of that, I will be one of multiple people shouting at the top of my lungs, buy my book, is out, buy my book. My audience will be there for me that loves my comics. They will come out to like a show, they would buy it directly from the website, they would go everywhere else but crowdfunding. But it is what it is. I just don't see how a lot of the people stick with crowdfunding, seeing little to no growth from campaign to campaign. But that's just me. And I'm just saying this more so to the effect that if it was a brand new title, I could see it. But things that are established, unless you have the audience already there looking for you, how much time or is it really worth your effort to launch the campaign to try to make money out of it? And Elaine, yeah, I do agree that that's sad. Yeah, crowdfunding as a model isn't feasible for me. I just want to leverage the use of online, but it ain't like how it was 10 years ago. Exactly. The rules changed too much. The rules changed way too much here, and any and everybody could use it now. Use that platform now for crowdfunding. Jake. Oh, she found something else. She found something else here. The paperback version of it. Okay, so she found the paperback version of it. Okay. Yeah, the ladder is slowly being put up. Yeah, and that's the kind of thing. In this, maybe we need to talk about it this way. In a society where everybody is so quick to make money, they don't realize that slow and steady wins the bigger race. You could go out there and make, you know, tens of thousands to millions of dollars quickly, but can you sustain it? Meaning that the is that $1 million seller really a $1 million seller, or is it one of those things that is a flash in the pan that couldn't be sustained? I rather create a comic book series that had a following where I got to like an issue 20, 30, 40, 50, and we do it slowly, than to come out with an issue number one that sold 1 million copies. I make a big ton of money, but yet I can't come out with an issue number two, or the crowd doesn't like what we do with the issue number one, and I can't get them to buy an issue two. To me, this whole thing is about slow and steady wins the race. It's not. It's like don't be the hare, be the tortoise. Be something that can be sustainable in a business, in a good business model. I could be wrong on that. Everybody who's doing the crowdfunding thing could be right, or everybody who has their audience the way that they need to be could be right. However, the thing that I also look at is how often are you producing books here? Like I made mention of my adult anthology. Issue number one has been done for several months now. I'm trying to get issue two and three done before I think about launching, because if that's a hit, people are going to be like, where's issue two? Where's issue three? Where's issue four? One of the reasons why I haven't hit up a bigger distributor as of yet with Amazonia and Primetime Saturday Night, I want to get a year's worth of books done, which means that I have to get to like an issue 12 or a 13 or a 14. That way, when I approach a dedicated distributor, I would give them a year's worth of books or a year's worth of issues while I'm working on the next year's. So they have a year's worth of cushion before they look at me and be like, hey, we see that you got, the first 15, where's issue 16? And I could go like, okay, here's, 16 through like 28, and keep them happy. And to keep and to keep the solicitation up and going for ongoing books here. But that takes time and effort to make certain that you can maintain creating those books. And granted, as a self-publisher or a small press printing house, having people available to do like your coloring, your editing, your inking, and whatever it needs to do, all of that costs money. So as long as you are able to pay and to make certain that those books are coming out at a decent clip and not put yourself in that trick bag where you have to have that next book ready in 30 to 60 days, I believe you're winning the game in that standpoint. I firmly believe that firmly believe in incrementals and compounding effort, but the visibility and the acknowledgement that I have imploded less your work, imploded less your work up to a network or to a crowd. Family, friends is another thing, and that's the different thing. That's one of the reasons why I kind of wish your neck of the woods had more in-person shows. It's like maybe you can't show bone meal the way that you want to on like new grounds or like dang it, webtoons or something to that magnitude. Maybe you could get it into the hands of like some of these smaller shows in your country, and then that way people get to see it firsthand, and you build your audience that way. And then that way you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to rely on the online thing anymore. But even I understand that the trap in that. You need money to go to these shows. You need money to pay for a table. You need money to get things printed. Nothing is ever easy. Yep, broke, got no income to do comics. You know, that's one of the reasons people like me got a 9 to 5 job and I'm about to get ready to be on the retired half of that, if I could say, that adventure of my life. And now I could focus more on doing comics here. Now, will I be doing a lot more stuff myself when that happens? Probably so, but I already got people in my corner that I could call on to and make certain that I could pay to get a lot of the stuff done. But it's all about forming that team and having that team have that kind of like the shared vision for the work. It's not about always having the best thing here. Yeah, my neck of the woods have no scene or shows like you guys have. And that's the sad thing about it. Because I could swear if you was here, you would be bugging people like myself and a few other creators, be like, hey, let's go to this show, let's hit this one up, let's tag team on a booth or something to that magnitude. But there where you're at, it's like I know it's few or far between, but I know that scene is there. I do know that scene is there. It might be small, very, very tiny, but that scene is actually there. It's just not popular. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not saying that it's limited to just to your country, but just in that general area, it's going to cost money. Going from country to country is not cheap. Maybe the train ticket might be cheap, but having the passport, getting the stuff put together and printed and everything, and making that long haul and chug out to a different country, whether it be like for a 2 hour ride, 4 hour ride. You just got to look at it from that aspect. That was one of the reasons why a lot of times people always ask me, how come you don't do more local shows? It's like the audience there for local shows may not be looking for a person like me going there, because I go to a lot of local shows and don't have anybody looking for me. There's very few sales that are being made at the local show, but let me go to a major. I get sales. People look my direction because it's something big and different at a big venue that they haven't seen before. Yeah, the scene is very real. Oh, really? I did not know that. You got a few exceptions, but those festivals and cons are the worst. Pray tell, enlighten me, enlighten me, because I got people who've been in my ear as of late that have gone over to a couple of other countries, and they're up here trying to twist my arm to do like gallery showings and stuff like that. And I was like, my stuff doesn't fit into that area at all that much. But enlighten me on that here. I don't want to be ignorant. But like I said, I get what you're saying. It's like it's not easy. It's not easy, but over here in the States, I still feel that people rely too much online. Because it's like when you start doing actual real shows and meet people face to face, you actually see who really likes your book, or who just bought, who just really taking interest in it when you see the whole face to face here. Here, networking is the key and done through formal book publishers, and then trickles down into the few indie publishers that focus on comics. So it's no different. So that part is no different. So there, it's like unless you're really getting distributed and really distributed by known companies, it's like you're not really doing much of anything. Kind of like my first experience with San Diego, going as a professional, because a lot of people were saying it's like they were expecting me is like to have my books already being distributed by Diamond, and I was like, no, I'm not in Diamond. So they were up there like, oh, you're an amateur, until they found out that I was on Comixology, and it's like, you're one of us now. It's like, you're on Comixology, come on. I got some things to show you and tell you and this, that, and the other, because for some reason, networking on certain levels here, like at San Diego, a lot of people are not going to pay too much attention to you until you are distributed by something that is worthwhile. Back then, Comixology was worthwhile. Diamond was worthwhile. Now, if you're in any type of distributor and the distributor is carrying you, they will be like, yeah, come on, I got some things to show you, things to tell you, how to get over this hump, that hump, and all the other humps that you can see in your growth in doing comics. But if you're, pretty much doing webtoons and you don't have the numbers, or if you're just like on DeviantArt and, only a handful of people that's looking at your stuff, it's probably going to be the same experience over here. They're not going to take you seriously until you're really distributed. And it's sad. It's very sad. I just don't know what to make of it because of the aspect of what is professional and what is not. To me, it's like where you're at in the craft and how and what you're willing to do to improve on your craft. To me, should outweigh the fact of who published you. I mean, I had other people publish my articles and stuff in comic related magazines. I don't really talk about all the stuff that I got published through Comics Unlimited, which is which technically is being published over there in Great Britain. At least the main head publisher is over there in Great Britain. I don't talk about that stuff too much because it's not my magazine, but I have contributed over 6 articles to that magazine, and it's published. It's published, and it's available on Amazon. So it's like one of those. It's like one of those things that's like, hey, it's not like I haven't been published before. I haven't been published by a DC or Marvel or an Image. I don't have anything that is out there that is being distributed by a major distributor like Diamond or Penguin or anything to that magnitude. Other people have published my works before, or my writing before. I mean, I used to be a part of this group called Wonder Funders, and we used to do anthology books, which is a pro-am type publishing book. We didn't get to the point where we got distributed by Diamond, but you can still pick it up, over there at Indie Planet. But that kind of fell apart because the main people who were spearheading those projects, we just haven't talked to one another anymore. But it is what it is. Yeah, too much to write out in a chat, but I don't want to hog the proverbial mic. Yeah, I can understand that. And then Parallax was like, "Go for it, Jay," because a lot of people here they like a lot of the industry type stuff. So if I have something that was industry related, they like it stuff here. Yep. And we met one another through Wonder Funders, and it's just like what Elaine went through kind of ticked me off with Wonder Funders too. And it's just like when you deal with pro am type stuff, is like some people going to have problems and other people are not. One of the things that I had a problem with is how Elaine got treated, and the other thing was part of the editing process. And the editing process I always talk about a lot because it's mainly comes back down to, it's like, hey, if you put me in charge as a managing editor and I look at a script and I look at what the artist turned in, and I see that the artist deviate from the script, I will make the artist redraw that page. However, when people like me do that, I get backlash from artists. It's like, why can't you just redo the script? Why can't you redo the script, redo the dialogue and everything? And I'm up there, it's like, why can't you follow what was on the page? Can you not read the script? So eventually the head editor stepped in and he sided with the artist. And I was like, if this was any other camp, whether it be Marvel, DC, Image, or any other small press, the request for the page to be redrawn would have been legitimate. And if the artist didn't do it, he would be looking at termination. Yes, I could have the writer redo the dialogue for the main point here, but the head editor is like, I like what he did with the page. Just have the writer redo the dialogue. And I was like, but that's not the purpose of this project. This purpose of the project is to get everybody used to the procedures that is being used in industry. If you telling me as a fellow editor to do this, and I disagree with you, that means technically I want to back off for being, editing anything else, because you're kind of violating that. Because again, you being head editor is like, you're supposed to be able to trust my eyes and my judgment on these types of things here. Even though you're saying that I wasn't wrong, just because you had a bias towards what was put out by the artist, you making the writer suffer. If it was something that was wrong with the way that the script was, point it out to me. It's like, no, there was nothing wrong with the script, then why can't we make him do his job correctly? So, those are the types of differences that I had with, and it's like, slowly but surely, those who either were on the professional side that was published by other publishers, and people like myself who were like half in, half out on the, as far as the actual pro scene, backed off. And once we started backing off for one reason or the other, it just seems like Wonder Funders kind of died afterwards. Yeah, either you go with an established publisher or you hit up the Ministry of Culture to apply for a state-sponsored funding. The worst, this is the worst one, heavy creative restriction. I kind of figured that. Getting anything that is considered a government grant is going to be heavily bogged down because of create creative restrictions. And the mic is your buddy. Yeah, and Elaine got messed over big time because she was supposed to ink somebody's pencils, and the person kept sending her pencils that was in 100 DPI. The head editor, the penciler, and everything. No, that's 300 DPI. It's like, no, we're looking at it. It's not 100 DPI. Why can't you send this at 300 or better? No, I've been sending it. She just don't know. It's like, no, you send it to me. They sent it to me. No, this is 100 DPI. And I'm showing them this is 100 DPI. Why can't you send her? And, one thing led to another and led to another. And she ended up leaving the project. And I was like, you're not supposed to treat people like that. If there is a problem, you figure out what's going on and go from there. And everything that went on was like, oh, it's like, this is really gender bias at this point. Because why am I the only one that sees the real problem here? And it wasn't until after I proved to them that it wasn't 300 DPI, where it's like, oh, it's our fault, this, that, and the other, this, blah, 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 blah. By the time that had happened, that was a couple of days later. You already offended the individual. That person is going to be gone. So it kind of like it is what it is. Then did they at least buy you dinner first? Nope, they did not. But I was getting a sign. Yep, she got her very first signing for her very first graphic novel coming up soon. I'm happy about that. No Leia, but the guy proved himself not to be a turd, and Joe made his. And I just don't play that. I just really don't play that type of mess here. Yeah, 100 DPI. And it was stuff like that took a lot of the more professional people who got published by other people away from it, because things like that was just not handled correctly. Like the example with the script and the penciling was not handled correctly. The stuff that happened with Elaine was not handled correctly. But eventually, those that stuck around, they got the work done and everything. So and overall, I believe it was a total of 6 issues that was done in that project, plus a calendar. So work got done, but it shortly fell apart. I think it started really falling apart after issue 4 of the anthology. So a lot of the stuff started falling apart because those that was taking editing roles, we wasn't seeing things eye to eye with the head editor anymore. It was just like things were just like moving in a direction where it's like, unless everybody was on the same page, it wasn't going to work out. For the first couple of issues, everything was going gravy. But after issue 3, it was just like, nope. Sorry, falling asleep at the keyboard. Not a problem. We're almost done here. We're almost at the 2-hour mark here. Yeah, it's early morning there where Jake is at. So yeah, stick in there. He's probably going to take a nap here as soon as the show is over with. But those are the types of things that was going on. So professionally, so it's like I understand what Jake's going through. It's like I've been through it myself. I'm still going through it because I still feel that other people are so much better than I in certain aspects of this industry. But as far as putting the time in to do the work and coming up with newer stories and having issues and stuff ready to go, I've been you've been working on it, killing it, been trying to get better and get better and get better and put out better and better and better product out there. That's the goal. But like Jake said, it's like it's hard to get the stuff out there when you can't trust online and you don't really know, how to get to your audience. Where he's at, it's like it's not like he could just, like you say, it's not like he could hop on a train and go to another country and be at a show. And then the few shows and festivals that's at his country, it's like he doesn't have the money to do everything himself. So it is what it is. He said, nap 12 hours to thrashing the bed. Yeah, thanks for working for Joe and the guys at Seven Robots. I actually have a few paid gigs, and Joe has allowed me to do variants of Amazonia. Yep. And Aaron's going to come at the very tail end of this here. So, you missed all the shop talk here, Aaron. You missed a lot of the shop talk here. We're almost at the end here. Yeah, at my friend's house. So, stay consistent. I'm trying to. That's the whole name of the game here is consistency. When people see that you're consistent, they know that you're serious. If you're consistently drawing something, consistently writing something, they know that you're serious about writing. They know that you're serious about drawing. They know that you're serious about creating stuff. Just like with your music, Aaron, when they see that you're working on the next chord or that next lyric, they take you seriously. It is what it is. People are consistent. Computers are not. No, as I said, computers are a tool. You can't blame the tool. You can't blame the tool. You can only blame the people who have to maintain the tool. So if people are having problems with Newgrounds, guess what? You have to blame Newgrounds. It's not really anything that you could do as far as that is concerned here. Yep. Jake's been around. He's one of our old guard here at for this show here. But it's all about that. It's about being consistent and just it's about not letting those setbacks get to you. Eventually you will get hurt. Eventually people will start seeing. Eventually people will start paying attention. But you can't force them. You can't force them. You can't do a lot of the things that you see other people are doing. Because why? They are flash in the pans. Eventually they are going to be flash in the pans, or they get them for that one brief moment. They get what they can. And because they weren't prepared for the sudden success, everything else falls by the wayside. That's why you have to be consistent. So if you come out with that, if you come out with issue number 1, you better be working on issue number 2. You just can't say, I got issue number 1, now I got to sell issue number 1 and make X, Y, and Z money before I do issue number 2. You can't do that. Because once you sell issue number 1 and people start liking it, you can't make them wait a long time, because if you make them wait a long time, they will forget about you that quickly. It is what it is. Yeah, we have to motivate one another. That's one of the reasons why I haven't joined any of the other, independent comic book networks. That's one of the reasons why I went with Brian K. Morris and Rising Tide, because like the whole idea is like, the rising tide lifts all boats. It's like we have to help one another. You never know when somebody is truly down and dumps and everything and needs that, that one encouraging thing that could be said. It's like, you know what? That last thing you wrote is great. Or I like what you did over here. Or, hey, take your stuff over there. I think somebody over there may like it. To give you that one bit of encouragement to keep going. Everybody needs to know that this stuff is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's not a regular, 1K race. It is a marathon. It is a ongoing thing. You're like 26 miles. It's not an easy thing to run. You have to build yourself up for stuff like that. You have to build yourself up to run a triathlon. You have to build yourself up to have that endurance to keep going. And that's the key thing. Like Aaron came in and said, consistency. It's not easy coming out here each and every week to do 2 hours, a 2 hour live show. What keeps me going is the chat. Because if I have to do this 2 hours just to sit out here and just talk to a camera and to emptiness, Front of Death would have been done a long time ago. But talking to you guys and letting you guys voice your opinions, and even allowing Jake to have the mic to say, hey, this is what I'm going through, and I might, this is what's really going on, and this is what I'm thinking, goes a long way. And I know I actually do that on other people's feeds from time to time, and I try to build what I consider relationships with other YouTubers. That's why I like Reggie Collects. It's like, even though we don't see eye to eye from time to time, but at least, we talk. He has good talking points, and we don't, look at things like you're right, you're wrong. It's more along the lines, let's exchange ideas. You might see it this way, but have you thought about this? I'm coming from over here, and I see that you're over there. What is the true middle ground? For we could both, understand and get something out of it. I like those type of conversations, and it's very few YouTubers that I know for a fact that gives me that type of presentation. Like Reggie Collect is one of them. Bryce Comics is another. As much as people like Swaggle I feel that he's kind of like how I feel about if you're into like the fighting game scene here, it's kind of like Button Check. It's like it's news, it's like snippet of news, but I still feel that it's more along the lines of influence as opposed to really informing the masses. And it comes back to what I did a video on. Either you're going to be a creator and work on the craft and talk about the craft and about how to improve the craft, or you're going to be an influencer and trying to influence people and why you should buy this and why this should be bought and why that should be bought and why people should listen to you. My job is not to make you listen to me. My job is just to present what knowledge I have and what knowledge, I could put out there and what artwork I could put in front of you and what stories I actually produce. Everything else is more of a conversation where we actually talk. I have to be just as much as a listener like you do. So yeah, you're gonna have to catch the rerun. Yeah, he's the ghost of Christmas past. That's true here. And that's the thing, I don't see it as a overly true passion. I just like what I like. I'm not going to be like, that amen part of the amen crew for like the Church of Batman. I just like what I like, and I watch everything. I try to keep an open mind about a lot of stuff. I will try different books, if it catches my attention. Being a part of the original comic book spectrum, where a lot of the people were, reading horror. I'm not a horror reader, but guess how many horror titles that I actually read because of them? And guess how many women-led titles I got them to read just because we had open minds to start sharing. That's the key thing. Just having that open mind and just having that open dialogue to share what we like in a positive aspect, not be negative. That's the key thing. It's like, well, Jake, time can't have, time can be a human construct. Yep, that is true. Yep, but let's keep it real. Yeah, that's true. I appreciate it, and you all. Yep, I I feel like I made a turn in my mind, Joe. I feel good. I'm glad that you keeping going too. I have to. It's like for me, it's like this is what I truly feel that I was meant to truly do a long time ago. because I was not able to get into video games like I wanted to. I wanted to program video games and everything to that aspect. But I don't get bitter or upset about it because being here in Chicago, outside of trying to get a job at Midway or anything like that, either you got to create your own games and everything and try to get into the industry that way, or you have to know somebody. I didn't get a chance to know enough people in my college days here, and that was when I was at my, if I could say, my pinnacle of desire was there to really start creating something new and different. And my creative output went from computer graphics to graphics in general, eventually to storytelling, and eventually by the time I got out of college here, me and one of my college buddies was really getting into, doing our own comic strips and comics. He even went back to school for animation, and I almost followed suit. But while he was going through school and animation and everything, was building up all this other stuff, I was reading his books. I was helping him with his homework, and eventually I just went ahead and just start doing comics and start writing and start creating full issues. And by the time I got to issue 2 of Amazonia and issue 1 of AWF, in 1 year, it's like, it was like, went from like issue number 1 of Amazonia 1 year to like issue 2, issue 1, and then all of a sudden 2 issues of AWF and issue 3 of Amazonia. And I was like, and most people started looking at me, it's like, you got more than 1 issue of these books. How did you do that? And during that time, like I said, I'm working. I got a 9-to-5 job. I figured out a way to get everybody paid. We did what we can, and we got the stuff out there. That's all you can do. Just do what you got to do. Well, wave at me on Facebook, Jake. If I can at least share silly videos with you. Yeah. But that's the thing here. It's like he's trying not to do the social media stuff because social media can be a time sink for him. That was one of the reasons why the only way that I was communicating with Jake after he left Twitter was through Newgrounds, because he was still working on Bone Mill. But since Bone Mill stopped or ended, the only way I get to catch up with him is when he's on here on YouTube. Yeah, I ended up gone for a month out in the end. Yep. Well, you can't always find me here. Yep. So you got a new subscriber here, Jake. So that's a good sign here. Yep, she's now officially a co-host here. And eventually, we might actually think about getting Jake involved with Comic Book Spectrum, because he will bring a different perspective especially from being overseas and everything. He could bring a very, very well educated perspective here. And Jake, technically, we probably need to do another one of those viewing parties that we did here, because I enjoyed what we did with Kick Art. And people who don't remember, we did a actual viewing of Kick Art live here on From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher not too long ago, a couple of months, almost, it's getting close to a year. But we did do that as a whole here. Yeah, that's what I mean here. You just did it. Good. Yeah. That's all you can do. It's like a lot of people, and I guess that's probably one of the turnoffs to me. And Elaine has seen this firsthand at shows here. There have been a lot of people who I know that talk a good game. And they're up there, it's like, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's like the first time around, okay. Second time around, it's like, okay, what's going on this, that, here, you might get my ear. After that third time around, where it's been like over a year, 2 years, and you still haven't done, it's like, why are you wasting my time? And that's kind of like my response to it. And Lane has seen this firsthand with certain people, how I treat certain people. Because each and every year, it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm doing this to this. I'm like, prove it. Where's your book? Until you do this, I got nothing to say to you. It's not like I'm on a different level. It's just that I want you to succeed. I want you to produce. It's one thing to show me a page here and a page there. I want to see a completed project. When you have a completed project, that's when I can say, hey, this is what you need. This is how you need to go about this. And this is how you need to go about getting your audience. This is how you need to be, give you real instruction or real advice. In the planning stages and in the creation stages, not so much. But once it's done, once you feel that you got something that's worthwhile, that's when people will really get behind you and be ready to push you forward. But you have to have something done. Yep, exactly. Okay, so Aaron's about to run. Yeah, I could get it. You're going to catch us on the rerun. Exactly. I kind of figured because we will be at a time where it's not convenient, like 9 p.m. 9 p.m. my time is, it's like normally when you're about to get ready to wake up anyway for a normal day. Unlike 7 o'clock would be like, closer to like more like mid, not yeah, it'd be more like midnight, 2 o'clock there. So yeah, I need to go ahead and finish up anyway because I still got laundry and stuff to finish doing for the night here. And besides, we're over the 2 hour mark already here. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And Jake, I'm so happy that you are back with us and everything. So you know where I'm at here. I just need to catch up with you and everything here. And like I said, we probably need to do one of those, watch parties that we did here, watch and review type, because Kick Art was fun. We were talking about all the artwork and everything, and it was one of those fun things where we looked at the I have both the Blu-ray and DVD. Looked at the DVD version of it, and we talked about all the different parts of it and why it was animated the way that it was, and things to that matter. That was fun. I wanted one live at this year. Okay, cool. Oh, it depends on if I could get the full collection. We need to get the full collection because I want to talk about all 6 episodes of Golden Boy, not just one episode at a time. I want to do all six. I want to do all six because that character had a unique, if I could say it in this way, character development, especially in the last episode where everybody who he impressed and fell in love with him came back at the very end to help him at the end. So yeah, I need to find if I could get the full collection of all 6 episodes here. And now Parallax is mad at Aaron. Yeah, I know. I know. I have to see if I can get it unless you have it. Well, not necessarily. Well, maybe my recollection is wrong because I thought each episode was 30 minutes. So it would have been like a 3 hour viewing of it, but knowing how we would talk about it, it probably would be like a 5 hour episode. Yeah, it might need to be stretched over 3 nights. Probably so. And besides, nobody would probably understand about the whole thing about it's like, why did you ruin the sanctity of the pool? Oh, the wild beast inside you has awoken the wild beast inside me. Oh, sock it to me. Pow! Nobody would understand the meaning of that scene until they actually seen it. Well, that's the thing. I do I really want to deal with YouTube and the possibility of copyright infringement? Because we didn't get copyright infringement the way that we did it with KitKart. But that's kind of like the thing here. It's like if we was actually doing it from like a DVD, it would be a little bit different because we can actually say that we had a copy of it and that we were actually doing it that way, as opposed to YouTube and their automated robots. It's like, hey, yeah, they're using somebody else's content that we had on YouTube. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like kind of like one of those catch-22 type deals as far as YouTube rules here. But yeah, we could do it. We could do it. We just need to find the time to figure out how we're going to do it. And then you're like, yeah, YouTube is big on copyrights, yeah. So when we did KitKart, dang it. When we did KitKart, I actually used my copy here. I actually own a copy of KitKart. And so when we did KitKart, we actually ran that DVD, the special DVD. Yeah, because it comes with the DVD and the Blu-ray. And what was weird is that this actually aired on Adult Swim on a Saturday. That's how I learned about it. Because before they released it out here to the masses, they did that. Yeah. Yeah, that's eBay pricing though. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's somebody on eBay pricing. I don't always trust about eBay pricing. Yeah, even if it's out of print, that doesn't necessarily mean that does not necessarily mean it's going to be $120. And trust me, you know how to buy videos out there on Whatnot. So yeah, I could probably find somebody on Whatnot, but probably selling it, and we probably get it for like $5 a pop for each episode if I bought it by volume, or if I could find a complete collection, probably get it for like $20 to $30. Yeah, YouTubers who do reaction videos can't show the whole entire thing or or episode of the show. Yeah, I got it for $20 in 2019. So yeah, it's about six or 7 years out, and things do inflate very much. But that's kind of like the whole thing here. Actually, we showed the whole thing. We showed the whole movie. We did the whole viewing thing here. Matter of fact, bear with me for 1 second. The question now becomes, did I do it on this account or did I do it on the other account that I lost where I lost my college email? We're about to find out. We're about to find out here. Looking at the content, we're going to look at the lives. Yeah, it was on my other account here. It was on the other account that got kiboshed. But did I move it over? That's the other question. Because I did move some of the other stuff over. No, I didn't move that one over. I didn't get the chance to get that one back. I might have to go. I might have to go and check to see if I could get that stuff back from Facebook here. But no, that's what I was looking at. I was showing you guys what I was looking at because some of the videos that I lost, I had to put back over as a actual video, and then the live stuff, I know for a fact it wouldn't be there because it's like it's only 82 because I had a lot more since then. But no, I don't think ever since I lost the access to my college email, I couldn't recover a lot of the live stuff. So it was like 300 plus videos that I lost access to, and YouTube acting like, oh, I could prove who I am and prove that it was my stuff, but yet because I don't have my old school college account anymore, they won't let me into that account. But it is what it is. Yeah, we could pause it or comment on it and do real, and be like real streamers. Yeah, and that's what we did. That's what we did the last time. It wasn't like we watched it flat out and then commented at the end. We was literally stopping and was pointing out different things in the middle of it and doing all the other stuff here. So she's pointing out different eBay things like correction, discotheque still exists. For some chance, the chance of it being struck. Yeah, that's true. Yep, RIP the old account. So on that note, let me bring this to an end here because there's one thing that I have to do outside of the laundry here. So I thank everybody who watched today. Be looking forward to when Jake and I do Golden Boy. So I have to figure out the logistics of that here. And if we do Golden Boy, it's going to be a hoot here because we will educate you on the matters of the anime of Golden Boy. Because there's a lot of stuff that is in that 6 episode series that needs to be picked on here. Because again, the if I can say, the character development was very unique because of the idiosyncrasy of the main character. Let's see, and it's like, yeah, Parallax, I looked out. Yep. Stinky Joe's clothes. Yep. Yeah, like me in the box sets of Invader Zim. Yep. So I'll get to do the thumbnail for those episodes. Watch us bike it out. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I paid $20 for it brand new. Literally the month it jumped up. Literally that money jumped up to $80 and then over $100 6 weeks later. Inflation. Yep. I need some sleep. All these in the morning. Later, people. Later, everybody. As I always say, live life, grow, and be well. And we're out of here for another week. See you next week for Comic Book Spectrum. Hopefully on the laptop this time here. And, have a great rest of your weekend here because I got to go check on a couple of people and get the next load of laundry in. Yep. Night, everybody. See you guys later.